So today we are going to talk about inheritance, which is another important concept in OOPS. So first of all, what is inheritance? Think of it like a child inheriting some key features from his parents or her parents. So let's say if a child gets born, he or she inherits what? He or she inherits some of the features like two hands, two legs, ability to walk, ability to talk, ability to learn languages, ability to eat with hands. So these all are inherited properties via a parent to a child, right? So this is the same concept used in the programming world. So the definition goes like inheritance is one of the fundamental concepts in object oriented programming. It allows a class to inherit fields and methods from another class, which is called a parent or superclass, and the inheriting class is called a child or subclass. All right. What it does is it promotes code reuse, it enables method overriding, which is a form of polymorphism, which is another fundamental pillar of OOPS, which we'll discuss in another video. And inheritance also helps establish an is a relationship between classes, right? So what is a relationship between classes? So is a relationship, it talks about how inheritance represent a relationship between different classes. For example, we can say here I have a superclass which has a member field called pair. Let's say it's spring force as of now, a constructor which prints something, and a method. All right. So is a relationship is like a child class is a child of this class because it is extending this superclass. So inheritance basically means that a child class which extends a class will have its features. All right. So this is the basic definition for inheritance. Now we can create a class of our own, class child 2. All right. It also extends the superclass. Now we are going to do some things with it. So as I told you that a child class inherits features from its parent class. So let's see it in action. All right. So let me create one method void UPI payment. It's right, UPI payment, and we'll just say s out paying through cred. All right. And I'll just create a main method. I'll create an object of this child2 class, child2 new child2, and I will call this UPI payment method. Now what will get printed according to you? So let's just see it, then I'll explain why it's happening. So here you can see superclass constructor called. Why? Because we are creating an object of child class, but we don't see any explicit system.out.println statement in the constructor of child2, right? But still it's printing this superclass constructor called, which is written here in the superclass constructor. All right. So you might be wondering why it's happening. Now let me just remove it and it will go, but I'll explain you why it's happening. Okay, I'll run it again. Now it's gone. All right. So what basically happens under the hood when we call a new object? Okay, we have to create a constructor to demonstrate that public child to the constructor. Okay, and we'll just print child class constructor called. All right, now it will print this thing. Okay, which makes sense, right? See this, and after that we have called that UPI payment method, which is calling this. So this is the normal functionality of a class, like how a class behaves, right? But what is happening under the hood is, whenever a class extends any class, in this case it's a super class, so it calls the super constructor by default. So if we write this again as out and super class constructor called, right? And we'll just see that, and we remove this. So here you will see that we are calling this constructor to create our object, and this has a system.out.println child class constructor called, but still it will print both of these, first the super class then the child class. Why? Because it explicitly calls the super. This happens under the hood, right? Okay, so even if we don't give it, it will happen. So the super class constructor will get called. All right, so that is the constructor thing in an inherited class. Now let's come to the UPI payment. So this is the same method, right? In the parent class also it's the same method. See, void UPI payment, here also it's the same. So this method is being overridden, right? So we are providing our own functionality. That means that we are overriding the method given by the parent class. Even if we don't give explicitly our own implementation, still this will get called. Still this UPI payment method will get called even if the child class does not have the UPI payment method, still it will get called. Okay, because it has extended the superclass and it inherits the features, right, which will extend the class, will have its features. So the child class will inherit the features of the superclass, which is UPI payment method as well. So it will print paying through GPay, not paying through cred now. Okay, so let's just see it in action. I have removed this method for your understanding. Okay, so paying through GPay. Now it's calling the superclass method UPI payment, right? All right. Now coming to this thing. Okay, the child the child class the child class can also call the fields child2 dot payer. Okay, we'll just print it. It will return as SpringForce. Even if the child class does not have any instance variable, it will still be able to call the instance variable of a particular superclass that is being extended by the child class, right? But if we give it as private, this will say payer has a private access, so it will not be able to call it. Okay, so this is about the access modifiers of variables inside superclass and child class. I have already talked about overriding methods. I have talked about the constructors. Alright, so I have covered a few topics. Now let's see what we have. Okay, so inheritance, as you might be aware of, it is basically comes of four parts. Alright, single level, multi-level, hierarchical, and multiple inheritance. One famous interview question which might come in your way, maybe if you are giving a Java interview or an OOPS interview question: is multiple inheritance supported in Java? What do you say? Let's say if we have another class, multiple inheritance, what does this mean? So I'll explain all these things to you. Class super class 2. All right, now we have void play something. S out playing football. All right, and let's say multiple inheritance means that a child class can inherit multiple classes, but Java does not support it. Why? Because diamond problem. Okay, what is diamond problem? So I'll just show you why. And Java cannot extend, right? See, class cannot extend multiple classes, so it will give us an error. So Java does not support it by default. Why it does not support it? The answer is, like, if let's say the superclass 2 also have a method UPI payment, okay, then the extending class, if it calls the UPI payment method, it will not know which class to call it, right? The method belongs to which class, it will never know, the compiler will never know. So that will create a problem. So that's why multiple inheritance is not supported in Java, right? Okay, superb. Let's just remove this one. Okay, so this is the diamond problem. What is the diamond problem? Let me reiterate it. If multiple classes are being inherited by a child class and all classes or two classes have same method, signature and definition, then the compiler will get confused as to which method to call, right? But we are able to achieve multiple inheritance in Java as well, because it's an important concept. So how are we able to achieve that? Okay, before that, let me talk about multiple and hierarchical interfaces inheritances as well. So inheritance, multi-level inheritance, what does this mean? Okay, let's say we have grandfather, father and child. Okay, so a father inherits something, let's say property, land of a piece of land from his father. Okay, class grandfather int, yeah, money. Let's say we can say money. He inherits money from his father. S out money inherited from grandfather, plus we'll just say int money equal to, let's say, 10 lakh rupees he has inherited from his father, and as this is an int method, it will return it. Okay, so this is about grandfather. Now let's talk about the father. Father inherited what? Money from the grandfather. So he also has some of his own money. So we'll just say int money equal to super. We can use super also, plus, let's say he made 20 lakhs. Okay, S out money inherited from grandfather and father. Okay, is money and return money Okay, class child. Now child extends money from his father, because let's say if the grandfather died, still he has inherited something from his grandfather, right? So that's what multi-level inheritance essentially is. Let's say child has no money of himself which he has made, but he has money given by his father as out. Okay, here money inherited from grandfather is 0. Why? Because he made his own money, he didn't receive it from anyone. All right, here what he received was from his father. Father received money from his father. All right, and inherited money from both grandfather and father, which is money, and it will get returned. Now let's just try to run it, but I don't think like we need to run it, but let's say in any case I'll just run it and show it to you. Child equal to new child, and child dot money will just print it. How much should it give the output, right? So it should give us 30 lakhs. Okay, okay, I have some issues related to the older code. Let's run it again. See, money inherited from grandfather 0. Why? Because the child class object was called and the money method was also called. Okay, so what is happening essentially is when we create the object here, so the constructor will be called for father, also it will be called for grandfather, and when we call the money, essentially this is calling super dot money, right? And it is for this super is this father class, it is also calling super dot money. So for this is the grandfather class. So first it will print grandfather on the first case here, then it will print for this, and so on. So basically I was telling you this is the multi-level inheritance that we were talking about. Now coming to hierarchical is also kind of similar, and these are very theoretical concepts, so no one asks them in interview. So let's just move forward and talk about the hot topics which are asked in interview. Okay, so how multiple inheritance is achieved in Java. I talked about interfaces in the previous video, so yes, that's the answer. Interfaces. Why interfaces does not have states? Okay, so let's just say interface parent 1. Okay, interface parent 2 class child. It's just for the simplicity because I have written a lot of classes now, so I'll just remove some of them. Child class extend super class. Okay, let me remove, actually a lot of code is being written. Okay, anyways, we are focusing on in the interfaces now. Class child, or I'll just write it because I have to remove a lot of code otherwise. Interface parent1 parent2, it's able to do it. But now you will say default void do payment is out, paying through GPay. I'll talk about another interview question that was asked in an EY interview by an interviewer recently. So I'll just give you a heads up for that. Paying through cred. Okay, it has to implement the methods, right? So let's just say psvm child equal to new child dot do payment. Okay, so he asked me if there are two interfaces with the same method signature, okay, and they are both being implemented by a child class, then what will happen if we do this? So we'll get a compile time error. Okay, for do payments, parent1 and parent2, see, they are incompatible. The child inherits unrelated defaults for do payment from types parent1 and parent2. Okay, so to avoid this problem, what we can do is we can override that method inside the class and give our own implementation as to which one to select. Okay, void do payment, annotations are not allowed here. Void do payment, we have to give the body, and what is saying, clashes with do payment attempting to assign weaker access privilege was public. Okay, so it just resolved our problem. All right, so what it said that it's giving a protected or private access modifier by default, so we have to make it public so that it can be used outside this class as well. All right, so we'll just give our implementation. We don't need to use GPay or cred, we will be using PhonePe for our payment. Okay, now this will not give us an error, it will give PhonePe. All right, so this is how we can use multiple inheritance in Java. It is achieved through interfaces, and if this type of scenario comes, then we have to override that method and do it. Now another interview question, let's say this is a class. All right, class cannot have default methods. Now it's implementing the parent class, parent interface, and extending parent1. Okay, we have to give extends first. Okay, there lies the essential of what I was going to talk about. Okay, now let's just remove this. If a child inherits this, if we call do payment, what will happen? Why do payment? Okay, we'll have to override that. right? And we'll have to give our implementation here, and if we do that, then this will get called. All right, so do payment through GPay again, and if we call this, now it will pay through GPay. But if we do this, parent1, then it will call the GPay, and if we do this, then it will call paying through GPay. All right, so that's about extending and implementing interfaces and different types of inheritances in Java. So now let's talk about the nodes. So I discussed about what is inheritance. Inheritance is one of the fundamental concepts. There are four types of inheritances, which are single inheritance. One class inherits from another. There's no multiple classes involved, just a child class and a parent class. Multi-level inheritance is an inheritance type which I talked, giving an example of grandfather, father, and child. Hierarchical inheritance, in which multiple classes inherit from the same superclass. Let's say I can give you a demo for that as well. Let's say a father has, here I'll just remove this, here I'll just remove this, and this as well. Okay, child 1, remove this, class child 2 extends father. Here also it has money given to him by father. So here super dot money minus super dot money by 2. Let's say father divides his money equally to both his children, which is child A and child B. Int money equal to super dot money minus super dot money divide by 2. Okay, and this will return money. Now inherited from father, half money, half inherited money from father. All right, and here also half inherited money from father. All right, now you will see child 2 equal to new child 2, and we'll call the money child 2 dot money. It will have half of the money which the parent has. So this is the inheritance which we are talking about, which is hierarchical. So here two classes, child 1 and child 2, extending from one class father. All right, so if we run this, then you will see that the money inherited is 10 lakhs, half inherited money from father. The father had money 20 lakhs and it was returned through int money. All right, here we are calling the super dot money, which will give us 20 lakhs. Here we are subtracting it and keeping it as half, or we could have done super dot money half. All right, this will also give us the same result. So this is about hierarchical inheritance. And multiple inheritance, it is not supported with classes. Why? Because if we extend two classes, then the compiler will get confused as to which method to call. but it can be achieved using interfaces. But even interfaces can have the same issue with them, but we solve it by overriding the method which is having the same signature and same definition. Alright, now let's talk about the key points about inheritance. We use the extend keywords to inherit a class. Private members are not inherited, as I told you, giving the example of pair. Constructors are not inherited, but super can be used to call them. We have also seen this thing. It enables method overriding, runtime polymorphism. I have showed you we can override the methods. We'll talk about this in detail in the upcoming video. Final classes cannot be inherited. Alright. Okay, let me show you. Let's say if a class is final. Alright, now this cannot be inherited. Cannot inherit from final. Make father not final. If we make it not final, then it will be inheritable. Currently it's not. Okay, the super keyword is used to access parent class, methods or constructor. This we have already seen. Multiple inheritance we have talked a lot about already in this video. So that's about inheritance. And inheritance, I have told you, like inheritance, it's just like a child inheriting traits from a parent, right? So all in all, why we use inheritance? Because it simplifies our code. It promotes the reuse of a class where we can use the existing methods or features, and we can add on our new features as well. And it also lays down the foundation for polymorphism, which is quite useful, right? Mastering inheritance is essential for clean and scalable Java design. There are multiple design patterns which revolve around OOPS concept, which we might talk about in later videos. If you want to learn more about design patterns and multiple Java topics like core Java, multi-threading, Spring Boot, microservices, and all these things in detail, please let me know in the comment section, and please like, share, and subscribe for more such videos.